Where? Oh, there it is. Okay, super. I look forward to talking to everybody here, and if anything we can help you, we'd be happy to help. So, Burton Kelso is the owner and chief expert at Integral, an on-site and remote computer laptop repair service company for consumers and businesses. He's a national speaker, YouTube personality, and has been on pretty much every TV channel imaginable. As computers and their related gadgets become more a part of everyday lives, he's here to help you get the most out of your devices. His vision is to remove the frustrations and complexity of computers and technology and open people up to a world of new ideas, experiences, and opportunities. He loves technology, he reads all of the manuals, and is serious about making technology fun, safe, and easy for everyone. So ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Burton Kelso.
That was one long intro, wasn't it? I know sometimes my ego gets the best of me, and I just go on and on and on. So now as a technology guy, I've been struggling with technology, so we don't need that. You've seen the first slide. So, in our country, we have a problem with success. And the challenge is that when we go through our lives and think about what is successful, oh gosh, what did I miss?
It wasn't on.
I hit on. No one's hiring this tech guy, and he can turn stuff on. Anyway, in our country, we have a problem with success because we are caught up in this hustle and grind mentality when it comes to success in our lives. Constantly on social media, we're seeing people rise and grind is the message that we are being fed. And that's ridiculous because everyone in this room has their own definition of what is success. There are people that have made millions of dollars and they consider themselves successful. There are people that aren't making a lot of money and they are happy and they are successful. So one of the things that we need to really concentrate on is, what you guys need to, is what is your definition of success? My definition, to be honest, is to focus on the practice of being a go-giver or a grow-giver. This means that you are constantly growing your personal self and making sure that you are giving to the people that need your help. Now, I had a mentor years ago that was the embodiment of the go-giver or grow-giver mentality. My mentor taught me that in order to achieve the ultimate success, you need to give and contribute to the success of other people. This means that you go out of your way, out of yourself, to make sure that people's needs are met. And if you're an ed director or a real estate educator, you are doing this. That means you've risen above what most of society considers success, and you are contributing to the lives of others. My mentor taught me this phrase, or actually I saw it in Star Trek, so I can't lie. But this is what we all need to be focused on, which is the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. My mentor taught me that as a human race, we are essentially one big family, and that we need to be in the constant care of each other in order to help future generations thrive and survive. You recognize this guy? Kool-Aid Man was the ultimate go-giver. He was a little destructive, but he was always giving out Kool-Aid. I mean, you'd be upset at first. You're like, man, I'm hot and thirsty. I could use some Kool-Aid. And then here comes Kool-Aid Man, busting through a brick wall. But the good thing is that he would always deliver Kool-Aid. And essentially, if you are practicing being a go-giver, or a grow-giver, or a go-giver, you are basically a Kool-Aid person. Because you are giving from your pitcher, Kool-Aid Man, and helping contribute to the success of others. Now, if you haven't guessed already, my mentor was my mother. And I have to explain the saying, I got it from my mama. Because in growing up, if you had a mama, mama didn't mess around, did she? Mama did not mess around. So whenever she enforced rules, you didn't talk back to mama. Mama would make sure that you understood in a multitude of ways of what she said was law. Now, if you have a mother, then maybe you like cuss in front of your mother. You just don't do what you're supposed to do. Don't try that in front of mama, because mama will beat you down. Now, I'm a product of a single parent household, which is me and Mama Kelso. And my mama sacrificed quite a bit in her life because she was constantly go-giving to people in church, at her work. She was always there for people whenever they needed. Also for family. So I know everyone has one of these in their family. Maybe not. So I had a murderous uncle. True story. My mother was the only one, well, I said mother, my mama was the only one that would go visit Uncle Craig in prison. And he was about 3 hours away. None of the other family members would visit poor Uncle Craig. At work, whenever someone needed a birthday cake, my mama was the one that always prepared that and made it happen. So she was go-giving, grow-giving in different ways. And as a parent, you know, she would make sure that my needs were felt as well, as opposed to other people's needs. Now, here's the tough part. And if I get emotional, I want you guys to start singing Beat It. So if I look like I'm about to cry, I need you to start singing Beat It. If anyone can do the Beat It dance from MTV, please do it, because it will help me continue on, or else I'm going to be a blubbering mess on the floor. So unfortunately, on Thanksgiving in 1990, my mother was killed in a car accident. And so it's kind of a challenge to come to Rapid, because I passed by where she was killed. Well, actually, she was injured on the Kansas Turnpike, but she died here in Wichita at Wesley Medical Center. So for me, here I go, you might have to start saying bigoted. But for me, it was a challenge because my mentor was gone, but it empowered me because I wanted to make sure that my mother's legacy was upheld. And that was by following her tradition of being a go-giver. So there's several ways that I started this journey being a go-giver. Well, I have to go back a little. My first, and this is unfortunate, my first public speech was at my mother's funeral. My Uncle Glenn's a poet. He wrote some, I don't want to say crappy, but it just didn't do my mother justice. I can't tell you what I said, but the nature of what I said during her memorial was to encourage people to give back to others. Don't worry so much about me, but worry about each other, and life is precious, and you need to make sure that you hang on to those precious things. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do to honor my mother was to start my own computer repair company. But I'm kind of lying there, because the real reason I started Integral is I kept getting fired from every job that I had. True story. But as the years went by with Integral, I realized, and to paraphrase what the owner of Starbucks has said, is that I realized that I was not in the computer repair business helping people. Integral is in the business of helping people. We're in the people business, helping people with their computer issues. So in essence, we're grow giving. Even though the company is making money, we make sure that our customers are satisfied with their stuff, and we go above and beyond, because there are a lot of tech guys out there that just talk all that nerd speak. We don't. So I'm thinking, I'm doing a good job. I'm giving back. So every now and then I'll have soulful conversations with my mother, Mama, and she would say, hey, Bert, which is what Mama called me. I didn't argue, obviously, and I hate the name Bert. And so you know, don't call me Bert, I'm Bert Ton. Let's get it right. So at Integral, I wound up in the local newspaper after being in business for about 4 years. And I'm thinking I did great. But I had a soulful conversation with Mama, and she's like, well, that's good, son, but you need to do more. You need to give back to the community. So I thought about it, being the go-giver that I am, and I decided to go and do a fundraiser for for the Leukemia Society. They had a Man and Woman of the Year. They still have this event every year where the grand prize is a billboard with you and the woman, well, me, it would be me, the Man of the Year, and then whatever woman they pick. And for me, that was the prize. I'm like, I'm doing twofold. I'm giving back, and I'm gonna be on the billboard. Well, it didn't work out so well, because at the intro meeting, it was Liquor Fest. Because of course, to get you to volunteer for a fundraiser, the opening reception, they're gonna give you a bunch of booze and have you sign the contract that you're gonna get a bunch of door prizes to hand out at the fundraiser. Well, I didn't get drunk, but at the same time, I didn't realize what I got into and who I was going up against. At the time, I had been in business maybe 5 years, and I was going up against some heavy hitters in the Kansas City metropolitan area that could easily pull together auction items, and I could not. What made things even worse is that when I went to go auction, it was just me up there stumbling, going, I've got some great prizes. The guy who won Man of the Year was an auctioneer. Now they have an auctioneer to auction off your items, but back then, this guy put his hat on, and he had the cane, and he's pointing at people, asking offers, and I'm like, I messed up, you know? I felt like a real failure. So a few years later, I started, well, that's how I felt a failure. So a few years later, I said, okay, I'm gonna do something that's really benevolent. So I started what's called a cash mob. And cash mobs, a few years back, were very popular, and it was a way for people to help small mom and pop businesses earn money. So what you would do is post via email or social media that we've got a mom and pop that needs an economic boost. So you would gather a bunch of people to show up to the mom and pop in question, paying cash only, and I didn't get any publicity or payment out of it. It was just the feel good of being a go-getter. Now, when I started the cash mob, I sent a letter to the Kansas City Star saying, hey, we just have this event. And Diane Stafford, who was the business editor at the time, saw that we posted on the Kansas City Star's business calendar about this cash mob. Obviously, something new and innovative attracted the Star, and I got a call from Diane Stafford, who then interviewed me for the Kansas City Star. And I thought that was it. And I co-sponsored this event with another lady. Next thing I know, Star photographers are calling up saying, hey, we want to take a picture of you because of your event, the cash mob. I'm like, great. So we posed in front of one of the businesses, got our photos taken. Next thing I know, on social media, I'm getting messages saying, hey, congratulations on making the front page of the Kansas City Star. I was like, okay. And I thought that was it. It gets worse. Every media outlet in the Kansas City area is contacting me to get more information about the cash mob. So I give it out, and we set up an interview at one of the shops. Go out there early in the morning, and I have to tell you, media does not care about you at all. Supposed to be at one of the businesses at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. I get a call. Hey, Burton, we're gonna have to push that interview back. There's a cheese truck that dumped its load on 435. So I got trumped by the cheese truck. They pushed me back several hours as the news went to recover this cheese truck that had wrecked on the interstate. So we do an interview with one of the stations. Cash mob comes rolling around, and every news outlet in the Kansas City metro area descends on 50th and State Line, filming us, giving back to the community. And if you know about the media, it's not all about crime and all the negativity. It's about people that give back. That will get you news coverage like no other. And it was a pretty dang cold day in January. I think it was the 12th of 2012. But I'm being interviewed, we got the video. There's Kelly Ziegler, the mayor of Westwood Hills, Kansas. Kelly's business partner, who I forgot her name, and Fat Bird of the Burton, as you can tell. It was pretty chubby back then. There is Fat Bird again, in interviews.
You look fantastic.
Well, thank you. I do now, I think, but yeah. So yeah, there's Pat Burton being interviewed by, it looks like the CBS affiliate. Another picture of Pat Burton being interviewed by one of the other affiliates. So it was a grand day helping out these mom and pop businesses. I forget that reporter's name, but anyway, he was real curt. He was one of the first people to interview me, and he just came up, John, I'm going to use you as an example, and just said, so tell me about this cash mom. That was it. And I just said, I don't know what to say. So he's pissed off and all that. But it was a pretty good event, and we did cash mobs over a 4-year period. So this meant sacrifices from my company going out helping mom and pop businesses every month with the cash mob. But the challenge is, and you know this as ed directors and educators, when you give back, it takes from you every time that you teach a class. Every time you prepare a class, it takes something from you. And eventually it just begins to wear you out. Yeah, that's me sleeping. And I'm an ugly sleeper. And that's what I felt like at the end of the cash mob. I was worn out. I was so tired, I'm like, man, I just can't do this anymore. And I'm like, Mama, what do I do? I've done what you asked, but I'm just so worn out. I can't do them anymore. And I felt guilty, like I'm sure many of you, when you just have to take a break from being an educator or an ed director. It just saps the life out of you. So one of the things that I'm going to ask all of you, and you don't have to answer, is are you okay? Are you truly okay with yourself? Because in the end, it comes down to you as far as making sure that you are taking care of yourself. And self-care is very important for you to deal with, especially when you're constantly giving. Because in our world, we deal with nothing but a bunch of takers. And I won't say everyone, because there are some go-givers out there. But for the majority of the time, people are constantly taking, and it can just drain you and just make you feel less than. So again, I want you to sit and think about, am I okay? Am I okay with myself? Do I need to take a break and recharge and rebuild before I go on? Because there's no problem with taking a break and recharging. Now, to paraphrase the quote that I said earlier, sometimes the needs of the one do outweigh the needs of the many. So I don't want you to feel guilty about, man, I'm not giving. I just don't feel it. If you need to shut down, by God's sake, shut down and don't do anything. It is okay. And I think in our society, I shouldn't say I think, I know in our society, we deal with the guilt of not grinding and hustling on a consistent basis, and that needs to change. We all need to begin to focus on ourselves. Now, one of the problems that we deal with in our lives is trauma. And trauma doesn't necessarily mean that you had a horrible childhood. For me, my personal trauma is grasshoppers and cockroaches. That's why I'm not looking at the screen right now. I cannot stand them. But trauma sometimes boils down to one single thing: our abilities to overthink situations in our lives. We tend to get so caught up on the inside that we overthink. And a lot of that deals from trauma. For me, I overthink because I don't want to fail my mother. Mama. Why do I keep saying that? You guys are distracting me. And I have people constantly that knew Mama that say, Burton, your mom would be proud. Now they say mom, I say mama. Because Mama's backhand was pretty strong, right? But I deal with overthinking. I'm horrible at it. I'm terrible at being an overthinker. And I know a lot of you deal with this as well, as far as situations and scenarios in your life. You get up, you present a class, or maybe you speak at a seminar, and you probably come off stage thinking that you suck. Because you've got this inner dialogue, this insecurity of people constantly telling you that you are wrong. I know that happened to me when I was in school. I was constantly bullied. And I always have this inner dialogue that's saying, hey, you're not enough. And that has to stop. And realistically, if you change your thought process, you can change in an instant as far as that negative dialogue. You can tell yourself in a positive manner that I am enough. It's okay for me to take a break every now and then. I don't have to be everything to everyone, and I know we all suffer from that. But it is a challenge. So I know there are people out there that say, yeah, you should just be able to have that positive mindset in an instant. And it doesn't happen that way all the time. Sometimes in life, we carry our trauma, but we still deal with that trauma in a way that we can still function in life. Now, I will say that if you are dealing with some serious trauma, get help. Get help. There's nothing wrong with saying, I need help. And I think that's a major problem in our society. And I think one of the reasons is that there's not enough go-givers out there that really support us. Realistically in life, sometimes we do stupid stuff. What's that song? Dumb ways to die. And we do not think the process through. And because of our stupid choices, we overthink, and we are not as successful as we are. So it's very important to not make stupid choices. I mean, who in their right mind is gonna do that? True story though, I did with a pair of scissors when I was a kid. I got the surprise of my life. The other issue that we deal with is time. We all have that clock ticking down, or so we think. Does any one of us know when we're gonna die? I thought my mother was gonna live forever. She was taken in an instant. And the sad thing about the whole time aspect is that because of the way she left for Wichita, I didn't even get up and say goodbye to her. She just said, hey, lock the front door if you decide to leave today. Guess what I did after I came home? I had forgotten to lock the front door. So it's important as far as time is concerned, understanding that we all don't know how much time that we have, but we can't be concerned about that either, because it adds to the trauma when we're constantly worried about, man, I don't have enough time. I am running out of time. But no one knows. No one knows when we're going to be taken from the face of this earth. So you have to ignore time. Yes, our time is finite, but you can't worry about that because you never know where it's going to come from, and you don't want that aspect of overthinking. Now, in life, your ultimate goal is to be your best personal self. That is your only goal. Your goal is to get your soul right so that you can function in this cruel world that we live in. And I need you to sit there and think about that for a few. Are you living to your best potential? Are you being the best person that you can be in life? And if not, what is it going to take to reach that potential? All of you are here for a purpose. You were not put on this earth just to languish and worry. We all have a mission. And what's important for you is that even if it takes you to the rest of your life, you need to sit down and figure out what your mission is. If you're aimlessly roaming around, you've got to figure it out, because if you figure out who you are and why you were put here, it will definitely give you a better perspective on life, and you will be able to handle whatever life challenges are thrown at you. Sometimes, in order to get to your inner self and your inner core, you've got to cut off the world. Yes, I said cut off the world. The challenge that we deal with is the energy that we put out. I am guilty of being a go-giver to the point that if some homeless guy walked in here and wanted some money, man, I'd empty my pockets. He probably, a lot of people think, oh, he's just gonna go down the road and buy some crack. Like, that's not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about helping my fellow man out. So in order to help you get that positive energy back in your life, sometimes you have to disappear from your connections, from your homies, from your colleagues. You've got to go into your soul and think about, how are my business relationships? How are my personal relationships? Because when you are able to sit back and think about how your relationships work in life, you will understand how people are going to align with your life, and that allows you to make better choices with who you connect with. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I encourage you to imitate nature. Who has had to mow their grass yet this year? Or has mowed their grass? Grass is forever, correct? It's never ending. That's anything with nature. Trees, they're constantly growing. And one of the things that helps them, especially trees, is your root system. And we all need to get our root system down so that we can stand tall. You need to dig your roots deep into the ground and imitate nature. When you're rooted, you are stronger. When you're rooted in your life, you get more nutrients from the universe that helps you have the tools that you need in order to succeed. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but that's great. But get rooted in yourself, in your core beliefs. Stand up for yourself and announce loud and proud, this is who I am. Who's had a moment of gratitude? Because I think sometimes in life, we don't think about all of the fortunate things that we have received in life. We don't think about all of the achievements. Today, I'm grateful for a roof over my head. Do we think about that in our daily lives? No, sometimes we are so caught up in our thoughts, are so caught up down the road, that we don't think about the basic things that we have in life and for ourselves. So every day, I want you to take a moment of gratitude and think what you are thankful for. Now, sometimes people will do this around Thanksgiving, but that's not always the time to do it. You need constant reminders of what you are grateful for. Now, there's 8th grade Burton.
I played basketball. I wish I would have included the team photo because I was the shortest kid on the team. In fact, when I tried out for basketball, I didn't know how to play basketball. I couldn't even dribble. But something inside me believed that I could make the team and somehow occasionally get on the court, which happened in one game, and I fouled out because I kept slapping players trying to smack the ball. But I want you to have that 8th grade Burton Kelso mentality when it comes to the goals that you have in life in order to ensure that you are making yourself whole. I don't know what possessed me to do that. I did a lot of things like that. I tried out for choir. I didn't know how to sing, but I made it in the choir anyway. I played a musical instrument in school. I played the flute. Obviously, no one in school knew how to play any instrument, so it was horrible. But I stuck with it and became a pretty good flautist. So I want you to take a moment and think about your past achievements. Think about things that you've accomplished and how you were able to make those goals possible. In life, people will turn their backs on you. Realistically, you probably only have 2 or 3 people that really like you as friends. I hate telling you that. It may be 4 or 5 for some people, but in our life, which helps drain from ourselves, making us incomplete, is that we're all human beings and we need conversation. We need human touch in order to thrive. But unfortunately, there's so many greedy people out there. And the people that may be in your circle are in your circle because they want something from you, because they can achieve their goals through you. And there's nothing wrong with that, but what you have to do is that you have to separate from the negativity and concentrate on the positive folks in your life. And it's not their fault if you've got users in your life. A lot of that deals with the personal trauma that other people are dealing with. And you can't be focused on that, and you cannot take offense to it because somebody is not giving out the same love and caring that you are. And I am very guilty of that. And I know many of you are guilty of giving out more than you receive. And it brings you down because you expect everyone is going to be like you. And you have to stop. You have to take people at face value and give and see what you get back in return. I always tell people to give. Give, because it will teach you a lesson of who is in your life and has your corner. If you are not receiving what you give back, you are wasting your time with specific people in your life, and it helps contribute to that negativity, which prevents you from giving. Because if you give and you get hurt, you're going to stop giving. And then you'll just become, I won't say a negative person, but it's harder for you to give fully if you're not getting the same love back. Also, we have to stop this mentality of rise and grind. It is killing all of us. I don't work out like that. I do lift weights. I know I look bony, but anyway, you've got to stop that grind mentality. It's okay to be consistent, but don't grind. Because what happens when you grind? You wear yourself out, and it makes you incapable of giving. So quit that mentality. Clean up clutter around home. I'm kind of a feng shui kind of guy, but that clutter in your home or office definitely takes away from you. So I hate to say hire a maid. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say reduce the clutter and the physical negativity in your life.
Let's talk about social media and technology. Do you know you make up your social media feed?
I know people will come to me, hey, my social media is so negative. It's because you're connecting with negative people. It's not like or Facebook or TikTok or whatever storing you all this negativity. You're attracting it by connecting with specific people. So if you get depressed getting on social media, go through and look at your friend list and start kicking some people out. I don't want to see anything political, too religious, or just negative, or even inaccurate news on my feed. So I'll remove it. And I encourage you to do the same things too when it comes to your social media feed, because that is a silent drain. You hear about the vampire appliances at home, like your toaster or your microwave, that are just silently sucking power from your home. That's what social media does. It sucks power from you. And another thing about unplugging. I unplug every Sunday. I'm just like, I'm done with social media, put my phone on the charger, and I disconnect. I encourage you, if you're like a social media crack addict, to do the same thing. Get off social. Concentrate on the people around you. That way it will encourage you to give more. And keep a positive attitude when it comes to your daily life. You can't think, what if, or I might, or I should. I'm gonna. It's gonna happen. I will succeed. I am enough. That's the dialogue that you need to have in your head all the time. I know it gets hard, but you cannot keep that negative dialogue with you. So once you're full, meaning that you have healed yourself and made sure that you can contribute to the lives of others, then you can move on and make life happen for others. I said that, didn't I? Yeah. So find your tribe to get with. Start making a positive impact with others when you are fully healed. Do not do so before then. When you're able to give back, when you're able to connect with positive people, it's going to help you grow. It's going to help you want to give. And again, grow giver is the mentality. Now, I have to give a shout out to somebody who's unfortunately here, who has been a grow giver to me. Stacy, you may have to stand up and substitute for your sister. I'm not here if it's not for Tracy Hawkins, the safety lady. Tracy has been invaluable. She really has. Tracy and Stacy, you can attest to this, does some really particular stuff. So when she found out that I was a local speaker, she said, Burton, you need to get out and get on the national scale. You need to go to Rapid. And Stacy, I know you can attribute to this, because how many times did Tracy ask you to come to Rapid?
Well, this is the first time, and you know I'm here.
I know you're here, but it took some convincing to come here, correct?
Huh?
It took some convincing for her to get you here, right? I'm gonna say, yeah, your sister
She's
ready
my
you out
big-
already. She's already told you.
She's 13 minutes older than me. When she said to be here, I said, I'll be there, big sister.
Oh, okay. That ain't what Tracy's saying, but I was guilty of the same thing. Tracy told me at least over a 4-year period, I need to come to Rapid. And finally, when I agreed, she said, well, before you go, I'm gonna check you out. So Tracy just shows up to one of my in-town presentations. No announcement, no nothing. She just shows up and says, hey, I wanna see how well you can present. I'm like, fine, you can watch me. So halfway through, Tracy just gets up and leaves. And I'm like, what the heck? And she came up and said, hey, you got this. I don't need to sit here and mentor you. So then she burned out. But Tracy is constantly sending me alerts about different speaking opportunities. Whenever she has me on Google Alerts, which I am too, but she will send me my Google Alerts. I'm like, Tracy, I'm already on it. But she is constantly giving of herself, not expecting anything back. Isn't that a good assessment of your sister?
It is right, that's right.
She will give, give, give. So I encourage you, if you don't have a Tracy the Safety Lady in your life, you better go out and find one and get one. Now, someone else that's not in the room who's an awesome go-giver is Cindy Siggs. Cindy pretty much puts this event on herself, and I mean, you guys already put the cape on her, so I can't give any more thanks on that, but find yourself go-givers like that to encourage your life. Not people that are constantly taking away from you. So make it happen. Like, we're short on time, we can go ahead. So I believe in your superpower. All of you are wonderful people. All of you are beautiful, and I love all of you. I want you to succeed in life. For me, there is no competition. You know why? Because I want to see you succeed in life too. I really want you to be able to give to yourself, make sure that you're well so that you can continue to give to other people. I want you to continue to be a shining light to others in your lives in order to fulfill others and to make your dreams come true as well as the dreams of others. I'm going to leave you with a final quote about John Lennon and the meaning of life. Essentially, the goal of life is to be happy. So I need you to focus on the positive aspects of life and make sure that you are focusing on fulfilling the positive aspects of other people. Now, this is my last slide, but I have a special request for all of you. Today is my oldest son's Christian's birthday.